Chapter 19 Mental Health Public Health includes Healthy Minds, based on Introduction to Public Health by Mary-Jane Schneider, 6th edition introduction. Mental illness isn't rare, and it's not separate from public health. In fact, mental disorders cause more disability in developed countries than any other health issue, including cancer or heart disease. And nearly half of all Americans will experience a mental illness in their lifetime. So why don't we treat it like the public health priority it is? What is mental illness? Mental illness comes in many forms. The major categories include anxiety disorders like phobias, panic attacks, OCD, PTSD, mood disorders like major depression and bipolar disorder, psychosis, especially in schizophrenia, cognitive disorders like Alzheimer's and dementia. Many people experience symptoms from more than one category. And diagnosis isn't always easy, symptoms overlap, and stigma keeps people from speaking up. Mental illness by the numbers. Let's look at the data from the National Comorbidity Survey. 31% of Americans have had an anxiety disorder. 21% have had a mood disorder. 25% have had an impulse control disorder. 35% have had a substance use disorder. That's over 57% with some kind of mental disorder in their lifetime. And it affects younger people more than older adults. Mental illness peaks under age 60. Causes and risk factors. What causes mental illness? It's complicated. Mental disorders usually come from a mix of biological factors like genetics or brain chemistry, psychological stressors like trauma or loss, social context like poverty, discrimination, or isolation, and early intervention matters. Risk factors often show up in childhood. That's why public health looks at individual, family, and community risks so we can act early. Mental health in children. For kids, mental health starts early. Issues like attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, autism spectrum disorder, anxiety and mood disorders, behavioral disorders like oppositional defiant disorder. Many are treatable, but diagnosis is often missed or delayed. Some kids get labeled too quickly. Others get ignored. And when caregivers are struggling, like with depression or poverty, kids feel the impact. Teens and suicide. Among teens, suicide is the second leading cause of death. Boys are more likely to die by suicide. Girls are more likely to attempt. Mental illness, bullying, access to guns, and substance use all play a role. Prevention starts with open conversations, mental health access, school support, reducing stigma. This is life-saving work. Eating disorders. Eating disorders are also serious and deadly. Anorexia has the highest mortality rate of any psychiatric disorder. Bulimia causes damage through purging and binging cycles. Binge eating disorder is tied to obesity and emotional health. Boys struggle too, especially with body image and steroid use. Treatment requires both mental and physical health care. Mental health in adults. In adulthood, mental illness shows up as anxiety disorders, the most common, PTSD especially among veterans, depression and bipolar disorder, schizophrenia, a severe illness affecting 1% of people. Treatment options include psychotherapy, medication, family support. And for PTSD, therapies like prolonged exposure and cognitive processing. Older adults and isolation. Mental illness doesn't disappear with age. In fact, older men have the highest suicide rates, often due to untreated depression. Risk factors include chronic illness, loneliness, complex medication regimens, nursing home admission, but treatment helps. So does prevention, grief counseling, peer groups, and regular screenings. Why don't people get help? So if we know how to help, why don't more people get treatment? Reasons include stigma, lack of insurance, lack of providers, or simply not recognizing the symptoms. Inpatient care is now used mostly for crises, but housing and ongoing support are still hard to find. As many as 1 in 3 people who are homeless live with mental illness. Conclusion: mental illness is common, disabling, and treatable, but public health must do more to reduce stigma, provide early access, integrate mental and physical health, fund prevention, not just crisis response, because mental health is public health, and healthy minds help build healthy communities. Call to action. This video is based on Chapter 19 of Introduction to Public Health by Mary-Jane Schneider, 6th edition. If this helped shift how you think about mental illness, share it. And in the comments, tell us what can public health do better to support mental wellness in your community.